Welcome to the second video of active listening. And here I have an important question to ask. Do men and women listen differently? Well, if you agree, then type in the comment section, yes, they do. Type in the comment section, yes, they do. And if you don't, then type it in the comment section, no, they don't. Okay? No, they don't. If you believe that, yeah, you know what, all humans listen the same way, then you can type that, no, they don't. And if you believe, no, even though we are of the same species, but men listen differently than women, then you can type that, yes, they do. All right? Now, the reason I asked you this question is because it's an important one to ask. You see, most of the time, what is our main issue when it comes to relationships? That people, or rather companions or partners, do not listen to each other. Now, here is what we need to focus on. Okay, so most of the time, the arguments that happens in office or in your personal life is because someone is not paying attention to what is being said. And that is one of the main reason for any argument or any miscommunication. So here we need to understand as to why that happens. How is it that even though you have said it so many times, but the person is not able to understand or the person is not able to follow? So here's what I'm going to do. Let me show you a diagram, okay? This is what our brain looks like. The left, so it has two sides, left hemisphere and the right hemisphere, or the left brain or the right brain, whatever you may want to call it. Okay. Now, which part of the brain do you think men use to listen? Which part of the brain do you think the men use to listen? Pause this video, and let me know. Which part of the brain do men or you think the men use to listen? Okay, pause this video. Yeah. Okay, good. I believe that you have done that. If you haven't, really pause this video and then go ahead. Okay, now, done? Very good. Let's see if your answer is correct. Okay, now, I'm sure some of us got it right, or maybe most of us got it right. Okay, but which part of the brain do you think women use? Which part of the brain do you think women use when it comes to listening? Left or right? Come on, type that in the comment section as well. Pause this video, type that in the comment section. Which part of the brain women use to listen, left or right? Now, I hope you've done that. Let's see if who got this correct. Now, let me know honestly who got this one correct. Women, 90% of them use both part of their brain. And that is the reason why they are more logical. That is the reason why they listen more emotionally. Now, when I say more logical and more emotionally, I meant active listening perspective. Okay, because all men, and in fact, all humans are logical by nature. But when it comes to listening, especially when it comes to active listening, women are better listeners. Don't you agree, women? Come on. People, come on. You may agree with me, you may not agree with me, but this is what the scientific fact is. So the scientific truth is women are better listener. Okay, so there you go, women power, right? So if you are a woman and if you agree with me, type in I agree. Okay, so I know that you agree that you are a better listener. Now, I'm not saying all women are better listeners. Okay, so please hold on to your horses, men. All right, all I'm trying to tell you is we listen to them too, and 90% of us choose to listen from the left side of the brain, while 10% probably use both part of the brain. But in women, 90% of them use both part of the brain. And that's the reason why they're better listeners. Okay, so don't be a sore loser. It's okay. Okay, it's okay to give it to the women. They are better listeners, all right? And that's just the fact. Okay, now when you talk about the brain, and you if you were to divide that into the left hemisphere or the right hemisphere, or the left brain or the right brain, what do you think is happening? What kind of what happens in the left side of the brain? Well, the left side of the brain is more logical in nature. The left side of the brain is more data driven, more facts driven. Okay, number specific. Okay, now when I say number specific, that doesn't mean that you will remember the dates very well. We all know we keep forgetting the anniversaries every now and then. So I'm not talking about that. But what I'm talking about is that it's more data driven. It's less emotional and more practical in nature. While on the right side of the brain is more emotional, more feelings. The right side of the brain is more passionate. And that's one of the reasons why women are better listeners, because they relate with you emotionally as well. And because they relate to you emotionally, you tend to listen to them a little more than, or in fact, sorry, they tend to listen to you a little more than anybody else. Okay. The beauty of this is, can you, as a man, listen from both parts of the brain? Answer is a yes. Absolutely, you can. You just need to practice it. How? Well, that's what this session is all about. That is what I'm going to cover in this module. That how can you use both part of your brain and be a better listener? Be a better listener. And for the women who are anyways using both part of their brains, I'll tell you what, we need to now move on from basic listening to active listening. And that's what we'll all learn together. Okay. How can I, from hearing to listening to actively listen? How can I get to that stage of actively listening? All right. Towards the end of this video, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to give you an activity as well. So pay attention to that. And I would want you to complete that too. Okay. Now, let's move on to another slide, and let's find out as to what is our mindset around listening. Okay, because mindset is important. See, listening, of course I can tell you about listening. I can tell you about how to listen and what to do and so on and so forth. But you know what? Unless we understand the mindset around listening, we won't be able to improve it, because this mindset is most important one. So let me explain quickly. Okay, first thing, do we listen to understand or do we listen to respond? Do we listen to understand or do we listen to respond? Well, if you listen to understand, then you'll be able to understand the emotions behind it as to why this is happening, why the person is feeling in a certain way. Feelings, right? Feelings, right side of the brain. But if you are only looking for data points, then you would not be able to relate to it. Okay. And that is the reason why I say, do we listen to understand or do we listen to respond? So if you're listening to respond, if you're only listening from that aspect, you know what you'll be doing? Selective listening. You'll only be listening to the part that you understand and you'll be able to respond back. And you would not be able to read between the lines. You would not be able to hear what is not being said. And that is an important aspect of it. Let me tell you this, okay? Most of the organizations, no matter how big or small they are, the number one reason they struggle mostly is employees not listening to the employer, or in the team there is no harmony because there is always miscommunication, and that's the reason why they keep missing the target, is because active listening is missing. See, when you actively listen, you connect with the person. And the only way you can connect with the person is if you listen to understand and not listen to respond. Because listen to respond could very well be taken as you are retaliating. Okay. So let's not make this into a TV talk show. Okay. Let's not make this into an argument. Let's understand each other and understand where the person is coming from. That is the reason why you listen to understand and not listen to respond. I hope it's making sense to you. Okay. I hope it's making sense. Yeah. And if it's making sense, please pause this video and type in "make sense" in the comment section. Okay. So I know that you're with me and it's making sense to you. Let me tell you another story. Okay. So, I saw this video. It's a very old video. I think some 6-7 years ago, maybe more. So what happened was, in this video, there's this woman, okay, there's his mother rather, and she was cutting vegetables in the kitchen, and her daughter had just come from school, and she was, rambling away. The daughter, okay, she was telling her about what happened in the school, what did the teacher say, what did my friends say, and the mother is busy chopping the vegetable because she's busy preparing something to eat. And the daughter says, "Ma, you're not listening to me." And the mother says, "No, no, honey, I am listening to you. I am listening to you." So the daughter continues. "And then this happened, and then she said this, and he said that, and then I said this." "Ma, you're not listening to me," she says. The mother says, looking at the daughter, "No, honey, I am listening to you. Go on. Trust me, I'm listening to you." And she gets back to work. The daughter begins again, telling her about the day, about how the day went, and who ate her lunch and why did she not finish her lunch, and so on and so forth. And then the third time, the daughter says, Ma, you are not listening to me. And this time, the mother loses it. She says, I am listening to you. What makes you think I'm not listening to you? I am listening to you. I am working as well. This is important. What makes you think that I'm not listening? The daughter replies, Ma, you're not listening to me with your eyes. Listen to me very carefully, people. Most of us are like this mother. We think that we listen from our ears, isn't it? Because that's how it is. Biologically, we listen from our ears. But what you don't know is we listen through our eyes as well. We listen to our facial expressions as well. We listen to our complete body language. We just don't listen from the ears. Now, this is an important lesson for all of you. The reason why I say so is because if you don't listen with your eyes, with your attention, with your focus, you are not listening. You're definitely not listening. You can say that I'm listening to whatever that whatever that was being said, but then you're not engaging both part of your brain. You're only engaging the left part of it, which is logical in nature, which doesn't give too much attention to feelings, doesn't give attention to emotions, doesn't give too much attention to where the person is coming from. Because all you care about is, tell me quickly, what do you want? Have you heard this before? Have you used this before? That is why, ladies and gentlemen, active listening is important. Okay. Now, what's the other bit? Let's move on and quickly record the other bit as well. Okay. How do we listen again? Okay. So do we listen to know or do we pretend to know it all? I'm sure you have people in your life, in office, in your personal life, wherein you've seen this kind of a person who sounds like he knows it all. Nobody likes him that much. Nobody likes him very much. You would not like him too or her too, right? So what am I trying to say here? Well, Dalai Lama once said, if you speak, then you only repeat what you know. If you speak, then you only repeat what you know. But if you listen, you may learn something new. If you speak, you only repeat what you know, but if you listen, you may learn something new. And that is what active listening does, ladies and gentlemen. We need to be listening to what is not being said. We need to be listening so that we can know more about the situation. Not so much about, I already know it, why should I listen to it? Here is what my question to you, or rather activity for you. I have explained a little bit about how this session is going to go about and why active listening is important, but do we truly know what active listening is? And how is it different from listening? And how is listening different from hearing? So here is an activity for you. And I want each one of you to do this. Do not cheat. Do not go on Google. I'm going to trust you that you're not going to do that. I want you to type in your own words, what do you think the difference is between hearing, listening, and active listening? I want you to type in, in the comment section, the difference between hearing, listening, and active listening. In your own words, what you think of what is hearing, what is listening, and what is active listening. And then in the coming slide on the next video, I am going to explain to you why and how should we actively listen. But before that, I really, really request you, do not skip this. Make sure that you complete this. And then proceed further, because in the next section, which is going to be really interesting, I am going to throw some light. And literally, when you'll see that, you would know what I mean, and then you'll get this joke. I'm going to literally throw some light on how should you actively listen. Okay, so I'll see you in the next one. But before you go there, make sure that you complete this activity. What is the difference between hearing, listening, and active listening? Great. I will see you in the next one.